Several killed in Bangladesh mayoral council elections amid boycott. Danny Fenster, the U.S. journalist, jailed in Myanmar for 11 years. Pakistan far-right leader taken off terror list to end protests in Pakistan. Sri Lanka limits size of public events ahead of opposition rally. Astro World Festival report, death toll rises to 9. Former South African President Frederick Willem de Klerk dies at 85. T20 World Cup, Pakistan fans left stunned in Dubai. This is the Midday International News Desk. My name is Joyce Iyakwari and I will take the news in full. Following yesterday's election, at least 7 people have been killed in Bangladesh election violence as reporters selected village council representatives in elections expected to further consolidate the governing party's power amid concern about the state of the country's democracy. The largest opposition party boycotted Thursday's vote, saying its skewed political atmosphere is preventing fair participation. Widespread allegations of misconduct were made during the last 2 national elections, and political violence has marred past votes in Bangladesh, particularly for rural councils. Thursday, it was not clear how many members of the ruling Awami League party had been elected to head the rural councils. A senior police officer in a report says group use guns and spears to prevent supporters of rivals from reaching the polling village in Narsingdi district in central Bangladesh. Died when rival groups clashed in southern Cox's Bazar district and 6 others were injured in the area. 2 people were killed in the eastern district of Kumila and another person died in the southeastern district of Chattogram amid violence that injured many, a report. Danny Fenster, a journalist at Myanmar Frontier magazine, has been jailed for 11 years by a court in the military-controlled country. Danny Fenster's employer in a statement said the 37-year-old was detained at Yangon Airport in May and found guilty on 3 charges. That Fenster was working for Myanmar now, even though he left the online media outlet in June last year. Fenster joined Frontier, where he is managing in July 2020. Frontier noted that the court has disregarded key evidence, including tax record, which confirmed Fenster's employment at the news magazine. Frontier editor-in-chief Thomas Kane, in a statement, said there is absolutely no basis to convict Danny of these charges. The ruling comes days after Bill Richardson, a former United States diplomat and hostage negotiator, met coup leader Senior General Min Aung, and after prosecutors targeted Fenster with additional charges of terrorism and sedition. Fenster is among 100 journalists who have been detained since February, about 30 still in jail. Pakistan has removed far-right leader Saad Rizvi from its terrorism watch list, paving the way for its releases from detention under a deal to end weeks of deadly protests by his follower over alleged blasphemy. The move on Thursday came a week after the government agreed to free 2,000 detained members of his TLP movement, lifted the ban on the group, and agreed to let it contest elections. Negotiators said the TLP in return has agreed to shun the politics of violence and withdraw a demand to have France's ambassador expelled over the publication of caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad by a French magazine. A government notification said the TLP chief, Saad Rizvi's name was hereby deleted from the terrorism watch list after authorities lifted the ban. The Sri Lankan government has declared new anti-coronavirus regulations to limit the size of public gatherings days before the opposition plans to hold a mass rally in the capital. The government has empowered authorities to determine the maximum number of people gathering at public meetings in an order released on Thursday. So far, it is unclear how each local health authority will act and therefore whether the rally will be allowed to go ahead. The move came soon after the main opposition party, the United People's Front, called for a protest next Tuesday in Colombo. Health Services Director General Asela Herat said the regulations were part of the measures taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19. SJB Member of Parliament Nalin Bandara said it is obvious that the government does not want the protest to take place and is making use of the health regulations as a cover. A 22-year-old woman who attended the Astro World Festival in Houston has become the 9th person to die in the tragedy, an attorney handling her case said on Thursday. Shahani, a student at Texas A&M University, attended the concert with her cousin and her younger sister, and this report is coming according to her cousin Mohit Belani. Shahani had been on a ventilator in critical condition days after she suffered injuries at the concert. Survivors of the surge described scenes where many attendees were pressed together and at times unable to stay upright. Former South Africa's President Frederick Willem F.W. de Klerk has died at the age of 85. According to a statement by the F.W. de Klerk Foundation, he was reported dead on Thursday morning at his home in Cape Town. Frederick Willem was the head of state between September 1989 and May 1994, and in 1990 announced that he was releasing anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela. The move, alongside further actions, led to multi-party polls in 1994, which helped bring an end to apartheid-era South Africa. F.W. de Klerk became one of the South Africa's 2 deputy presidents after the multi-party elections in 1994 that saw Mr. Mandela become president. In Dubai, United Arab Emirates, with a perfect record in the group stages, 5 wins out of 5, Pakistan seemed destined to reach its third T20 World Cup final. On Thursday, Fakhram Zaman's late hitting had a measured innings by Mohammad Rizwan took Pakistan to a respectable total. In reply, Australia stuttered at regular intervals after losing captain Aaron Finch without scoring in the first over. It needed 68 runs off the last 6 overs, and Pakistan had 1 foot in the final already. The fans in green were planning their arrival at the stadium for the Sunday's final, while the heavily outnumbered Australian fans were planning an early exit. However, a late onslaught led by wicket-keeper batter Matthew Wade, including 3 sixes off Shaheen Afridi, dashed Pakistan's hope and took Australia into the final, where it would take on New Zealand in Dubai on Sunday. The crowd, with just a handful of Australian supporters, were left stunned after having enjoyed a dominant Pakistan show for the better part of the evening. These are all the stories for the news today. Thank you for watching, and I encourage you to join the Midday Show live coming your way by 2 p.m. Join me, Joyce Iakwari, and Sambo Solomon on the show. Thank you for watching.